me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
That's so much about field maintenance. Lots of athletic fields, lots of green spaces. If we're trying to maintain them, keeping them green, keeping them healthy, keeping the foot traffic as much as possible off of them. And you know, that's something odd. Everybody wants to get on the grass fields and play sports and just do whatever. And then the people maintaining the fields are like, we need to keep people off of them because it's killing the grass just from the wear and tear on it.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Recreation Show. Today, we're bringing you the future of facility maintenance, from smart cities and IoT technology to robotic lawnmowers that take the grunt work out of park care. We'll dive into how these innovations are saving time, money, and resources, all while making our parks more sustainable. Get ready to learn how smart technology is changing the game in park management and keeping our communities thriving. Let's jump in.
All right, Craig LeBlanc here with the Daily Parks and Rec Show, our second, as promised, facilities maintenance. We're still lining up some speakers. We've also, this guy right here, I don't know if you can see, that's a new logo. We've got it's version 1. We still got a little more to do, but you can kind of see the concept there. You kind of can't read it, so I asked them to kind of make it white letters and then eliminate the background on it, so it'll be pop a little bit more on the screen. But essentially, it's facilities maintenance and parks and recreation. That's what we want to do as a daily show here, geared towards maintaining park facilities. So we started out this, of course, many of you already know, we're building a network, a media company for parks and recreation, all things parks and recreation. And one of the overwhelming requests that we had was to create content for facilities maintenance professionals. We can bring in specialists. We can bring in a lot of the vendors that cater to this industry. We can highlight, certainly, probably the primary thing we're going to do is highlight the careers of the masters, of the craftsmen that work tirelessly nonstop across America to maintain the fields, urban forestries, you name it. I mean, they're probably at least half of the effort that goes into parks and recreation. But the manpower, the machines, the equipment, the maintenance on all that stuff, it's overwhelming as to what it takes to keep this real estate portfolio of the parks and recreation across America going. So we wanted to give them their own segment, their own show, 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, 9:45. Well, that's my time, 10:45 Eastern to 11:45. And we've got a little chat going on in the background with a bunch of superintendents and maintenance people. So if you'd like to join that group to contribute in building this show and building the content around it and just being an organizer to give back to the community, hit me up on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to add you. And I'm reaching out to people as well. But we've already got some great topics coming up. And I think we're going to separate it into the 4 categories. We'll just start off where Ryan Brewer kind of gave us a little direction around that. Facilities maintenance. Let's see. Just kind of reading off a little bit of what he said. Hold on. Here we go. Field maintenance. So that's obviously a big one. Lots of athletic fields, lots of green spaces. If we're trying to maintain them, keeping them green, keeping them healthy, keeping the foot traffic as much as possible off of them. And you know, that's something odd. Everybody wants to get on the grass fields and play sports and just do whatever. And then the people maintaining the fields are like, we need to keep people off of them because it's killing the grass just from the wear and tear on it. So that's so much about field maintenance. Facilities maintenance, that can be, maintaining all your facilities from swimming pools to community centers to sports facilities. And we have equipment maintenance. Now, we all know there's tons of equipment, especially lawn care equipment, field striping equipment, sprayers, I mean, you name it, the tractors, there's all kind of equipment, bucket trucks, it's tons of equipment that we could probably do a one day show every day just on equipment maintenance, but we're going to cram it all into this 1 hour. We have 4 days a week. And then sustainability management. So I think those are the kind of the general topics that we're going to start covering. Urban forestry was a more specific one that we're highlighting as well. And there's a lot others that we can get into. So this week it'll just be most likely just me rattling on about the framework, getting the logos straight, making sure my time is set. I've got to set all my alarms, making sure that everything else goes out, and then just in the background, we're building a little online community of organizers for facilities maintenance. It's quite different than with the directors and leadership series and stuff like that. So anyway, today I do have a topic for y'all. It's a topic that I can speak on just because this is what I used to do for a living. For those of you who don't know, grew up, my father was an electrician, a master electrician. His uncle was a master electrician. So I don't know if that counts as third generation, but I guess it does. So I was a third generation master electrician, grew up with a tool pouch on my side. And so many of our original clients that my father had for the business were Parks and Recreation. We worked for about six, well, one of them was a parish, or two parishes and 4 cities, their park systems. And so I kind of grew up working as the electrician in Parks and Recreation. And one of the big things that we had to do was change out the bulbs and ballasts on the baseball field lights. So for those of you that are working in parks and maintenance that are changing out bulbs and ballasts for baseball field lights, I understand what you go through. I understand trying to swap out a fixture and you need like 3 hands, and you're trying to undo the bolt and the nut at the same time, and that makes sure the fixture doesn't fall on your head. Or man, those 1500 watt metal halide ballasts are like 50-pound weights, and having to do all that over your head. Of course, you forget one tool in the bottom. You got to go all the way back down and get it. I've lived that life probably for a decade. I was just working with my hands before my company grew to where I had other people kind of do this for me. But as LED light technology started to come out, it was, it's been around for a while, in LED signs, like exit signs and stuff like that, just small stuff. But it never really got to where you could, and I'll give you a little history of the LED industry. It was mostly around controls, exit signs, not a lot of power, not a lot of light power. So you could never have an LED light that was powerful enough to replace the 400, the 1000, and the 1500 watt metal halide, which were those big powerhouse workhorse lights that we see still today on top of many of our sports fields. But eventually, as the technology grew stronger and iterated, and these lights became more and more powerful, and it became more a function of cooling these LED chips than it was about the brightness of them, because they would get hot, and if you can't keep them cool, they would just burn the little wafer that they sat on. So eventually, they became to run to operate cooler. Giving you a little history lesson on the world of LED lights. And the drivers became more efficient, and then the supply chain started to make them in higher and higher quantities. And still today, the LED light on top of a baseball field, so something that would replace that 1500 watt metal halide light, which is the old bulb and ballast that we've all known. They were just super expensive when they first came out, and they honestly weren't that great, and they wouldn't stay that cool. But there they were, and they could finally replace them. But the technology started to get better and better on the cooling side, so the heat sink technology. And when I say heat sink, that's just a fancy way for saying there's you bolt something that's a heat source, you bolt something that's hot to a chunk of metal, and then the heat goes from that heat source into the metal. And it kind of wicks the heat away from it. Kind of like, I guess you could say if you put your hand on a hot pot, the heat comes from the pot into your hand. So there you go. You're pulling heat away from that pan. And in a very similar way, the LED chip is touching aluminum, and it passively pulls heat away. Now, the original ones really started using fans and stuff. But when those fans would go out, these cooling fans, so imagine mounting a cooling fan on a light fixture. I mean, your light's only going to last as long as this little cheap fan. And so that ended up not being a good solution. So you can see year after year, LED light manufacturers would try to get better and better cooling technology, cooler running chips, more powerful chips, more efficient drivers, and then now you've got to scale up and mass produce these, but the markets weren't big for 1500-watt metal halide replacements in the LED world. And so, even still today, if you walk up to an electrical wholesale house and say, I need an LED light that replaces a 1500-watt metal halide for my baseball field, they look at you like you got three heads. This is not something you can normally buy without ordering it. I'm not saying they can't order it. And then when you go online, you just see a bunch of cheap Chinese manufacturers that are producing stuff that's subpar, older technology, still doesn't use a lot of the modern chips, drivers, and cooling technologies that the best fixtures on the market had. And really, up until a few years ago, LED replacements for the 1500 watts might be like $3,000, $4,000 for one fixture. Well, I mean, if you can get a bulb and ballast for a few $100s, maybe 400 or 500 at most, you're not going to spend $3,000 or $4,000 on one light fixture. You just can't afford to do it. So it wasn't until quite recently that the price point started coming down to where, like the one that I manufactured, I got it down to like $850 to the client, and we would sell directly to cities. Eventually, I closed out every other business I had, and this is all I did, and that's kind of how I got introduced into Parks and Recreation, the field. Did that for nearly a decade before, as y'all know my story, I got everything in the Bitcoin. If you're not into Bitcoin, you need to get into it. Sorry, I'm trying to convert the world to Bitcoin with the rest of my fellow Bitcoiners. Hit me up on LinkedIn if you want to learn more about it. I don't make a penny off of it. None of us do. We're just trying to welcome the world into what a great technology Bitcoin is. Anyway, I won't shut up about that. So eventually, we got it to where it was about $850. Did that in Parks and Recreation. I eventually learned that I didn't want to do business with anybody else but Parks and Recreation. I loved attending all the little state conventions and walking the parks. And before you know it, I had like a little family of Parks and Rec friends. And still to this day, these are some of my best friends. Matter of fact, I'm going to hang out with Doug up in Monroe. Actually, no, him and his wife are coming to stay at my house in 2 weeks. And shout out to Shonda Smith, who was the reason that this whole show started. Thanks for encouraging me. And I can go down the list of countless Parks and Recreation friends that I formed over the years, both as clients and now personal friends. A lot of these guys are just retired now in Parks and Rec, and I still hang out with them. So as I kind of got out of that field, kind of semi-retired, got into Bitcoin, I was like, you know what? I want to build a media. I built a media company for Bitcoin, and I kind of looked over to my left and right and saw tons of people doing the exact same thing at the national conference. There were 40 to 50 people that had press passes. Excuse me, organizations that had press passes. Probably about 150 people in total. And I was like, you know what? Parks and Rec needs to do this, and they need to have like media companies that are fighting to tell the message of Parks and Recreation, which is so compelling, and just creating good content for them. And when I was looking for a funding source, of course, what I had was my #1 bestseller in Parks and Recreation. So I was like, well, I can just kind of use this to sell. So we do still sell these, actually quite a few of them, to Parks and Rec departments that want to just replace one fixture, two fixtures, three fixtures on a pole as they go out. So you may have heard me say this before. A lot of our customers, they might have 40 lights on one community baseball field. Nothing, a big chunk of who we sold to were just one single baseball field in a kind of rural area that the maintenance guys, went out there and said, man, we've got like 12 of these 40 lights are just out. Can you send me just 12? And then I'll go rent a lift and we'll just swap the fixtures out. And then they would do that again for 1 or 2 seasons. And of course, these lights last, the way we engineered them, that's like 100,000 man hours, just because they have world-class heat sink technology that keeps them super cool. We separate the driver housing from the chip housing, which is the face of it. So that driver's kept nice and cool. The chips use passive cooling, which is just the wind blowing over steel. And so you get a tremendously long lifespan. So these are zero maintenance. And I think the new type of LED lights, of course, the good ones that we manufacture, and I recommend, look, you need to switch your lights to LED lights anyway. Just because the maintenance bill alone on sending someone up to replace bulbs and ballasts is killing you. That is actually the biggest savings. I know a lot of people that when they think about LED lights, they think about the electrical savings, like I'm going to save on my electric bill, but that's a fraction of the cost of sending a guy up there every couple of years with a bulb, a ballast, and a lift, and an electrician up there. You're going to spend at least $1,000, maybe actually probably $2,000 on a lift to get to the top of these, 60, 70, 80-foot poles. You're going to have to send a technician with a tool pouch that knows, how to do electrical work, is not afraid of heights. And he's going to be working there all day, let's say on 10 fixtures. If he can do 10 a day, he's doing pretty good. Most people might do 7 or 8 in a day. And so you're looking at maybe a 2-day project. You're going to pay a local electrician maybe $100 an hour times 10 times 2. That's 2,000 on the labor, maybe 1,500 if you got a better deal. But still, you're looking at a couple thousand of that, couple thousand on the lift. So you're spending $3,000 to $4,000, and you haven't even bought the material yet. That's literally just to get the man and the lift on the job site for 2 days. You're $2,000 in. So that means you're spending, $4,000 in. So you're spending $300 to $400 per fixture if you're swapping 10 fixtures out, or you're swapping ballasts out. So even if you go up there and change a single bulb, you're going to spend $300 to $400 just to get the man with the bulb in his hands to change out those bulbs. And then if you do a ballast, it's like $300 or $400 for a new ballast. So you can kind of see how, if you've got to come back again in 2 or 3 years and do something like this again at that same fixture, within 2 years, you've already spent $600 to $800 on the labor and the lift. And had you originally just sent him up with just a single fixture, like we have, you're going to be pushing up daisies before that light ever comes. It's 100,000 out. So you do the math. How many hours are you going to run this light fixture before it gets to the end of its 100,000-hour lifespan? It really is just a good financial decision. And because we talk on the show a lot about cost recovery and, doing the most with your budget, if you can afford one cycle. So if you say, I'm going to be back at this fixture in a couple of years to replace that bulb, if I can just pay an extra $200 or $300 more to get an LED fixture from us and support the channel at the same time, which is what I'm trying to do here, then you're going to come out ahead. And then all the other maintenance bills that are coming in every 2 or 3 years at every fixture in your entire park system are just going to be deleted. They'll just be gone. You'll never have to come back to that fixture again. You'll never have to send another electrician up there again. And it's so much easier on your electrical system because these things draw a third of the electricity as the old systems, and then they have no maintenance costs. And they're really simple. You just take one bolt out, take the old fixture down, put the same exact bolt back in this fixture, wire it up, 3 wires, you're done. So and this is what I did for, like I said, nearly a decade. And now we're just using this to, fund the daily Parks and Rec show. And the reason I'm saying all of this is because today is the first full week of our facilities maintenance. And this is a big facilities maintenance workload. So just like we have a workload on maintaining swimming pools, on cutting grass, on fixing everything that breaks in a community, a lot of the problems that come through, this is just one of the problems that comes through your system. Hey, we got a bunch of lights out. We got softball season, we got baseball season coming up, and we need to get the lights working so they don't complain too much, and so the kids can see the ball when it's coming at their head. So they need to be able to see. And so, we'll go out there and count how many are out. Now, let me call Craig and see if I can get him to send me, 5 or 6 more fixtures. And then we would just ship them to you. And then you unbox and put them up. Pretty simple. And so shout out to Peter. Just delivered some more lights to him, Peter Cosmiano over in Jasper, Alabama. Great little city. They're one of our clients that recently bought from us, and the profit from these directly contributes to this. Actually, I just roll 100% of the profit of everything I get from any support goes directly into funding this channel. And the team behind it. So wanted to thank Kathleen for making our logo today. Yesterday, we're going to do a few more tweaks on it. Let me know what y'all think. We also have a little explainer video. Let me go ahead and play that. And this is just for the maintenance show. Hold on, I got to delete this one. And where is it? Here we go, facilities maintenance. So we actually have a little minute and 10-second promo for the facilities maintenance daily show Monday through Thursday. So we'll go ahead and play that, and then we'll go ahead and wrap things up and get ready for our leadership series, which is coming up. I'll tell you more about it in a second. Hold on.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, where we highlight the essential work that keeps our parks and facilities thriving. From local ball fields to multi-use athletic complexes, field maintenance ensures every space is safe, ready, and welcoming for play and community events. Facility maintenance is the backbone of operational excellence, ensuring that recreation centers, playgrounds, and shared spaces are functional, clean, and built to last. Behind the scenes, equipment maintenance keeps vital tools and machinery in peak condition. At the core of future-forward thinking is sustainability management, integrating green practices that reduce environmental impact and enhance long-term resource stewardship. Facilities maintenance is more than routine upkeep. It's strategic, essential, and foundational to building healthy and resilient communities. This is the Daily Parks and Rec Show, honoring the professionals who keep our spaces running and our communities strong.
All right. So thank y'all for putting that together for us. And we're going to iterate that again, like all of our other stuff, we just get the first one out the gates, much like the logo, much like that one. We want to get a lot more native footage. We want to get a lot more interviews under our belt, and we will make that little promo a little bit longer and better as we kind of understand how we're going to serve this community of Parks and Rec maintenance professionals. Which I'm really glad the guy that we're interviewing, Brad Rainey over in Edmond, Oklahoma, he does a lot. He contracts a lot of stuff out. And so we want to talk about that because there's a couple of schools, there's basically two schools of thought, or I guess two bookends and everything in between is let's bring everything in-house. Let's do all the stuff we can do in-house. And only when it's like, of course, like I said, I lived as a master electrician that had some of the specialty tools and equipment and bucket trucks and digger derricks and cranes and stuff that our parks department would call us because they didn't want to buy a crane. So we had a crane and we had to set like a big pole or something. So outside of doing that, many parks departments say, we're going to do it all. We're going to have bucket trucks. We're going to have electricians. We're going to have plumbers. We're going to have carpenters. We're going to own all of our grass equipment, all of our own excavators and stuff, and we're just going to maintain the parks, everything in-house. So that's one school of thought. That's kind of all the way on the bookend. We do it all. On the opposite end is let's contract out as much as possible. I don't want to have people cutting grass. I don't want to maintain any lawnmowers. I'm going to just hire a contractor to do that and manage those contracts and get good at that. Same thing with electricians. I'm going to have somebody say, you're going to maintain everything electrical in the park system. We're going to have like a 5-year contract, something like that. Okay, so that's the other bookend. And then you've got, and so chances are your city is something in the middle of those two. You're not contracting 100% and you're not doing 100%. You're somewhere in the middle. But a lot of these guys, and I think Brad's one of them, you'll see, he kind of leans more towards let's contract out as much as possible and be good at managing that. And I've seen a lot of great systems do that really well. So I shout out to Chris Nunes over in the Woodlands. He was a master at that. And a lot of his talks that he gives are around that. And that is certainly one way to do it. And I don't think there's really a right or wrong. It's just what works for you in your city. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. All right. So last thing to go ahead and wrap things up about LED lights. If you need an LED light, even if you want to just buy one, it goes to support this channel. This is exclusively our light. This is something I personally manufactured for over a decade, or around a decade, and have thousands of these all throughout the park systems across America. It's not a state that I don't have one of these sitting in. And so right now, it's like our Girl Scout cookie. We use it to raise funds to support this channel for Parks and Recreation, and now for our new show right now for facilities maintenance. And this was just a topic that I could speak on to make sense while we're still organizing the speakers and everybody else. And so I wanted to give a shout out to the people that are kind of helping us. Let's see. These are some of our organizers. So we've got Jacob Stevens. He's a superintendent over in Alabama. We've got Ryan Brewer over in Oklahoma. We've got Garrett James over in Texas. Dave Ramirez, one of our great vendors. He's the head guy over at Outdoor Link, one of the companies that we partner with and that's sponsoring the show as well. So now I'm looking at this list. I've got like 5 other people I need to add to it that I'm in conversation with. But if you'd like to be on this list, if you're a superintendent, if you've got a high degree of mastery around your profession and you feel like you could speak on it, or if you would just like to help contribute and organize in the background, or if you'd like to just come on the show and help me host this, or if you're a vendor that you regularly serve the community, Parks and Recreation, we'd love to hear about what you're doing. And so reach out to me and we'll have you on the show and you can kind of explain how you serve the Parks and Rec community and what your product does. And so we're going to bring in a lot of professionals from everywhere for this. So looking excited. Feeling excited about where this is going. I wish I could see all the stuff that's going on in the background. This week, I may have one guy come on as a speaker if I can get it put together. It's not that we don't have the speakers lined up. It's just that I'm still getting stuff ready in the background. This week is more of an organizational week. As you can see, we got a little work to do in the logo and the video and stuff, but Kathleen and Chris are working hard to get all that done. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap things up there. I will see y'all here in about 44 minutes. Don't miss the leadership series here where we have Brad Rainey from Edmond, Oklahoma. And he's going to tell us all about, well, I don't want to spoil it. He's going to be a good one. But we'll see y'all here tomorrow also, 10:45 for another, the third episode of Facilities Maintenance. Got a really cool topic for y'all. And then we also have our leadership series is stacked all the way, today, Wednesday and Thursday. And then Friday, we have our YPN show, which is our, 12 noon Eastern YPN show. So if you're a young professional, don't miss out on that. We got some cool stuff going on there. And I will, again, Craig LeBlanc signing out, the doorman for the Parks and Rec Facilities Maintenance Show, 10:45 Monday through Thursday. We'll see y'all here again tomorrow, and we'll also see you here in about 45 minutes for the leadership series. I'll see you all in a minute. Bye.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, where we highlight the essential work that keeps our parks and facilities thriving. From local ball fields to multi-use athletic complexes, field maintenance ensures every space is safe, ready, and welcoming for play and community events. Facility maintenance is the backbone of operational excellence, ensuring that recreation centers, playgrounds, and shared spaces are functional, clean, and built to last. Behind the scenes, equipment maintenance keeps vital tools and machinery in peak condition. At the core of future forward thinking is sustainability management, integrating green practices that reduce environmental impact and enhance long-term resource stewardship. Facilities maintenance is more than routine upkeep. It's strategic, essential, and foundational to building healthy and resilient communities. This is the Daily Parks and Rec Show, honoring the professionals who keep our spaces running and our communities strong.